The original Dead Rising is getting a major visual overhaul with Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. That's a long name. While a version of Dead Rising released in 2016 that offered high definition visuals and some quality of life changes for more powerful hardware, that version will most likely become obsolete after this new release. The game will launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on September 19th, with a separate physical release coming later. Dead Rising Deluxe Remake is truly made for the current generation of hardware. While there have been multiple Dead Rising titles, the first release remains the most iconic and stands the test of time. When the original Dead Rising title launched, the horror B-movie vibe helped to really push this title with iconic characters including Frank West, who would eventually make his way into having cameo appearances in other Capcom titles. The original Dead Rising is the only way to experience the feel of what George Romero's original Dawn of the Dead movie offered years ago, and now with much more realistic visuals that rival recent Resident Evil remakes. Fans that haven't played the game since its launch 18 years ago now have a chance to re-experience it with this major update. This game's protagonist, Frank West, is a freelance journalist that consists of all the tropes and stereotypes that journalists and movies tend to have. What works great is blending the gray area of doing anything to get his story while also showing compassion. He certainly comes off as a dirtbag, and the visual upgrades to him in the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster almost pushes that envelope more. He helps the game truly portray almost a one-off horror movie. What made Dead Rising's gameplay so attractive is that it was a sandbox game at the time where there weren't any other sandbox games. Players could have Frank West try on different clothes in different stores and use almost anything as a weapon. There is a photography aspect of this as well. There will be DLC costumes available in this release. 8 of these were available for this preview that included a Leon Kennedy outfit from Resident Evil, an actual liquor from Resident Evil, Chuck Green, Frank West 2006, a Williamette Parkview Mall B, Creepy Rabbit, Rakuo, and Mega Man from Battle Network. Leon the Liquor, Creepy Rabbit, Rakuo, and Mega Man are included with the digital deluxe edition, and Chuck Green, Frank West 2006, and the Mall B are all pre-order bonuses. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster starts with the same dark introduction video of a mother and her child stuck in the midst of the zombie outbreak. This has also received the visual upgrades as players can witness the details on the face of the models, as well as the facial animations and the environments. These upgrades bring the series in line with the remakes of Resident Evil. The intro video, which is still arguably the best intro video of any horror game in existence, provides an idea of just how dark this game can get, but the environment and the zombies counter that and introduce a sense of innocence to the game that really isn't seen elsewhere. It makes players start taking things for granted and provide a false sense of confidence. The preview version of the game was played on PC, as Capcom recommends either an AMD RX 6900 XT or an NVIDIA RTX 3080 and above to play the game at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. Some visual options worth noting is that the game can be played at higher than 60 frames, and Capcom has included Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3, Intel Xe Super Sampling, and NVIDIA DLSS. It is worth noting that there aren't any ray tracing options for the game. However, DLSS frame generation and NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency are options. Other detailed tidbits for visual options include screen space reflections, volumetric lighting, ambient occlusion, subsurface scattering, bloom, lens flare, and adjusting the number of characters on the screen. So that means a lot of zombies. The option to leave persistent corpses is also available, which will be a nice touch. There will be some other quality of life improvements that players can expect in the game. The 72-hour mode, which was a big measuring stick for this game's favorability, returns as players will need to keep track of their time to make sure they don't miss their ticket out of town. Rather than dying and starting completely over, the game has the option to pick up from an autosave. Players can also play with aim assist, and 3D audio will be included. Going back and comparing to Dead Rising HD from 2016, the difference in visual details is literally night and day. Players will need to take photos of Frank to help level up stats. Food can still be made, and other attributes will need to be upgraded throughout the journey. Boss fights will progress the story, and saving people is still important to help with leveling up. Players should expect quicker loading times on SSDs or NVMe drives for PC. While the PC graphics options are listed above, graphical options that consoles will have are unknown. Fans returning to an updated look of Willamette Mall will be able to experience Nightmare all over again with a much more realistic look.